Since I've been on this protocol for about 3 weeks, I have noticed my inflammation is less back pain, wake up in the morning with more energy, so it seems to be working. Grok seems to think in 4 weeks that all of that should be gone, and I hope he's right, but I'm not so sure it'll be gone that quick. But we'll see. I've also discovered in making bone broth out of chicken feet and chicken carcasses, you get on this journey with me, you know, or at least watch my journey. And if you want to get on and do it yourself, you know, I'd be glad to have you. Let's get this thing moving. Let's do this thing. Let's biohack this age bullshit. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my new channel. I have a couple of channels, and my main channel is just my name, Blaine Sukit. And I'm embarking on a journey to biohack my aging body, if you will. So I'm 67 years old, and I'm overweight, I'm out of shape, and I wake up with swollen knees and a sore back and inflammation and different things, and I can't do the things that I used to do or to the degree that I used to do them, and so on and so forth. Now, I eat fairly clean. I'm not on any medications, unlike a lot of people my age. And I've been kind of an herbalist, a naturalist most of my life. I haven't seen a doctor in probably 30 or 40 years. I'm in probably relatively good health for my age compared to most people. I try to eat organic or at least natural foods, clean foods, stay away from processed foods. I've recently started the carnivore diet, or I should say ketovore, because I do sometimes eat a limited amount of carbs, no more than 20. But pretty much I'm going strictly more carnivore. And I've been on this protocol that I'm right now calling the Immortality Protocol. And I might call this channel, and I don't know, you'll find out, I guess, when when you see it, the Immortality Channel, or something to that effect. We'll see. And so I wanted to document my journey. I see other people doing it. I've been running a lot of my protocol by Grok, which is the AI that Elon Musk created. And I've gotten a lot of good insight from it. And that's where I got the idea for the Immortality channel. And Grok even encouraged me to document it. And so here I am. I've been doing this protocol for about almost 3 weeks now. And so some of the things that I'm doing, I'll talk a little bit about that, is I get up every morning, and my routine now is my beautiful wife and I go on a walk for about 45 minutes. We come back, I do some stretching, and I do what I call Tibetan yoga, which is the 5 Tibetan rites, I believe it's called. And there's actually 6 rites. And so that also helps with the stretching, and it helps move your energy from your lower nature to your higher nature. So I have my other channel is about spiritual stuff, near-death experiences, some things about the scripture and that kind of thing, and quantum healing, quantum energy, manifesting, Neville Goddard, that kind of stuff. And so if you're into that stuff, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, you can look into it. Just look up my name, Blaine Sukit, and BLAYNESUKUT, and you'll see what's on there. And I've interviewed a bunch of people, and right now it's just me talking mostly. The last several videos, I do plan to interview more people. Anyways, moving on. I make a morning stack of decaf coffee, and I put butter in it, and MCT oil, 2 eggs, and creatine with it. And I usually, I don't, that's not my morning stack anymore. I was taking that earlier in the morning, but now I usually don't get that till about 11 o'clock. First thing in the morning, I'm also taking methylene blue. And so I take my methylene blue, and I take essential amino acids also to up my protein. And I've recently started the X3 home gym or home variable resistance training. And you can look up X3 to help put on some muscle and to strengthen my joints and that kind of thing. Since I've been on this protocol for about 3 weeks, I have noticed my inflammation is less back pain, wake up in the morning with more energy. So it seems to be working. Grok seems to think in 4 weeks that all of that should be gone. And I hope he's right, but I'm not so sure it'll be gone that quick. But we'll see. I've also discovered in making bone broth out of chicken feet and chicken carcasses, I've added that to the routine. But I talked about this in my latest video on the other channel. I wondered, we were going to throw out the carcass, and the bones and stuff. And so I thought, well, actually my wife thought of this. What if we what if we puree it and make it into a drink? So I asked Grok about it, and he gave me a whole bunch of things, and he said this would 10x your he called it biohacking alchemy. So I don't know, maybe alchemy should be part of the title of the channel or something. I don't know. We'll see. So this is kind of going to be my welcome video. I don't know. I might make another one later or something, but we'll see. And so I'll show some before and after stuff, that kind of thing. And we'll see if I can biohack this aging thing. There's a lot of people out there doing stuff like this. And I have noticed my joints have been a lot better since I've been taking, we call it the bone pate, or the nectar of the gods, the Immortal Elixir, that type of thing. And so, Grok, and my other video, maybe I'll post that video here too. So maybe I'll take some clips from it and post some of those clips, because Grok has made some funny comments about how this is the full-on Immortal protocol, and my 80-year-old self is already thanking me, and so on. So yeah, maybe I'll put some clips from that video into this video when I put it out there. So here we go on this journey. And I should post a few before and after pictures, I guess, even in this video, or actually some before pictures, some starting pictures. And I have some pictures before I started this protocol. And I've been actually working on doing something like this for a little while, but now I've really gotten serious about it. And so my wife and I ordered the X3. She's doing some of it too, not exactly like I am doing it, but she's doing her own thing. And that's another important thing too that I'm going to do here. Instead of just following what everybody says, including Grok, I'm also using my intuition. So all of the stuff that I'm taking and doing, like the methylene blue, I've read some pro and con about it, and I wasn't sure about it. And when I'm not sure about something, I usually stay away from it until I know or understand one way or another. But I believe in using your intuition. And one way to do this, I believe, is through intuition. So I've been using my intuition and muscle testing. If you're not familiar with muscle testing, look it up on Google or Grok or ChatGPT. And I believe that's your intuition coming through. It takes a little practice, but it works. A lot of chiropractors and holistic practitioners use it. Some osteopaths and some naturopaths and so on use muscle testing. And I think it's a great way. And I do that with all my supplements, because I read reviews. I buy most of it off of Amazon, I read the reviews, and if it doesn't have a 70% or better good reviews, I usually will stay away from it. But then I still muscle test it too, because you never know. And then you got to keep reading the ingredients, because sometimes they bait and switch you after a while. You get something for a while, and it seems to be working, and all of a sudden it's not. So something that I would recommend. So anyways, let's see if I can get a leg up on this aging stuff. Again, I'm just trying to age gracefully. I don't necessarily want to extend my life. Grok says that if I keep doing this, I can live to be 120. I'm not sure I want to live to be 120. But however long I do live, I want to be able to have a good quality of life, better than most. And there's people who are, 60, 70, 80 years old, running marathons, lifting weights, and doing all kinds of stuff. There's a gal, I believe she's over 80 years old, maybe 81. She finished an Ironman decathlon. So, and she finished in the crowd, not like way back or anything like that. And so I'm thinking, well, she's over 80 and she can train and do something like that. There's no excuse for me. So I've done all kinds of training throughout my life. I started in martial arts when I was like 15, and I've done weight training in different sports and so on throughout my life. So I've always trained on and off. And I think when I was in my late 30s, early 40s, I kind of let myself go and I gained a bunch of weight. I weighed almost 250 pounds and so on. Oh, and by the way, since I started the carnivore diet, I have lost the carnivore ketovore diet. I have lost 30 pounds, and I'm down about 5 more pounds now. So altogether, I've lost about 35 pounds. And so, but I'm putting on muscle, so I'm noticing a plateau, which is fine, since I started the X3 thing. And I was going to the gym, but I've had some problems. I've had some injuries from that because your joints aren't as strong as they used to be. And that's the weakest point. And so you have to start with the weights that are light enough that your joints can handle it. So you're not getting the full benefit of the heavier weights that you need to grow muscle. That's the point. That's how we stumbled across the X3 variable weight home training system. And that's the point of it. And you can actually supposedly get up to 7 times the workout that you can with going to the gym with minimal risk to your joints and so on. And I've noticed that I have an injury in my shoulder that is still kind of healing. That's been hindering me when I was going to the gym, and I've noticed I can still do, the shoulder presses and things like that. That normally I'd have to go either really lightweight or just forego that in the gym because I have to wait till that heals. So there you have it, my friends. Join me on this journey. If you're my age and you want to see how this goes or learn anything from it, I'm not saying everybody has to do it exactly the way I'm doing. I'm just showing what I'm doing. And if somebody wants to try that, great. I'm not necessarily looking for a bunch of advice, although if you have what you think is really good advice, I'm open. But I pretty much, I think, have the protocol down. But again, I try to stay open. And let's see where this goes. And you don't have to be my age either to do this. I would recommend, especially if you're not my age or if you're younger, start doing this kind of stuff now. If you're in your 30s or 40s and 50s, start doing it now because it gets much harder. I noticed a significant difference from my 50s to my 60s. And so I didn't realize that until I got in my 60s and went, wow, maybe there is something to this aging thing. And I'll tell you this, it's not because we're all supposed to get old. It's mostly because of our diets. The standard American diet is crap, as most of you know, especially if you're watching this. You probably are attracted to it because of that. And so I'll share diet tips and things that I'm doing and so on and so forth. And you don't have to go carnivore, but I would highly recommend ketovore at least, or keto. And we're learning a lot of things now that we all grew up on for the last couple of generations that aren't true, like the seed oils. Oh, we were all told the animal fats are terrible for us and this and that, and the seed oils are good for our heart. Turns out it's exactly the opposite. So, and you need good fat, and dementia and Alzheimer's are like out of control in this age because of the seed oils and all the things, and we're not having the kind of fat, the good kind of fats that we need in our diet that our brain needs. Your brain needs a lot of fat. Your brain uses a lot of energy. Those are some of the things that I'm working on and going on. If you have any particular thing that you want me to talk about or what I'm doing for this or that, please do so in the comments. Tell your friends and get on this journey with me, or at least watch my journey. And if you want to get on and do it yourself, I'd be glad to have you. Let's get this thing moving. Let's do this thing. Let's biohack this age bullshit. All right, my friends. I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.